Welcome into Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. On today's show, we'll go over the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors surrounding Geno Smith and Coby Bryant. Let's start out with Geno Smith. Yesterday, we brought you a special edition of Seahawks Today last night with some breaking news from CBS Sports NFL insider Josina Anderson, where Josina reported that the Seahawks were closing in on a trade for Baker Mayfield. It also included a contract extension for Mayfield as well. That trade has not gone down yet, but the rumblings have certainly increased since that report has come out. And now we've got a reaction of sorts from Geno Smith. A cryptic message connecting dots one way or another here on how he feels as far as the Seahawks potentially bringing in Mayfield goes. Let's go ahead and start out with a tweet from Chris Deely, who is a soccer writer that works for Fansided, and he just happened to be talking about Geno Smith, and Geno caught wind of this. So follow me here one by one on this. Let's start out with this tweet from Chris. He says, Geno Smith is a legitimately good quarterback. Impossible to tell what it is about him that meant he got such a short run as a starter in the NFL. It is not impossible to tell. You know what it is. To then, there was a quote tweet from Geno Smith that has now been deleted, by the way. But as you guys know, everything on the internet, once it's on the internet, just because it's deleted doesn't go away. We still caught wind of this. He said, we all know what it is, but the reality I live with when I wake up is all that matters to me. My whole life, a dream. I can't thank God enough. So, saying all this with the impending move for Baker Mayfield that seems to be happening, according to reports last night, you can see the disappointment there, it would seem, from Geno Smith if you're trying to connect the dots of the idea of them essentially pushing him to the curb of sorts here. Look, you're not bringing in Baker Mayfield to compete for a job. If you're going to bring in Baker Mayfield, he is your starter, and the quarterback competition is over. So, very interesting to kind of connect those dots there. More on this in just a second, but before we do, our pinned comment today in regards to Geno Smith. Would you start him or would you bench him? We're going to go over all the numbers here for you in just a second, compare him to Baker Mayfield, but I want to hear directly from you guys first. Would you start Geno or would you bench Geno Smith? You're about to get an ad break. Take advantage of it. While that ad's playing, get your votes in. S for start, B for bench. That's S for start, B for bench. So, looking at Geno Smith, he played in 4 games last year, started in 3, and was expected to compete for the starting job with Drew Lock. As things stood right now, it seemed like it was an open quarterback competition, and throughout OTAs and minicamp, Geno Smith was receiving first-team reps for the most part. And all the talk that we heard from the coaching staff was that they liked Geno Smith and Drew Lock, and that the quarterback competition was pretty neck and neck, but with an edge to Geno Smith as he had learned the system. But you also have to think about that Geno Smith could be suspended for up to 3 games this year for that DUI arrest he had. So, with that being said, if Geno's your starter, is he really actually going to start game 1? That remains to be seen. Now, when you look at the track record of Geno Smith throughout his NFL career, last year in 2021 was the only time in his career, and he's been in this thing now since 2013, where he's looked good at all. And he was fine. He wasn't earth-shattering by any stretch of what he did for the Seahawks last year, but he was good enough. He was good enough filling in for Russell Wilson in that backup role. Now, the last time that we saw Geno Smith as a full-time starter was when he was with the New York Jets, the first 2 seasons of his career, in 2013 and 2014. Started the full seasons both those years, beating out Mark Sanchez. And he was not good. The numbers, as you can see there, that rookie season, granted his rookie year, 12 touchdowns and 21 interceptions, 8-8 record. 2014, 13 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. His completion percentage was never above 60%, and it just did not go well. Now, granted, the Jets have been a dumpster fire of an organization things were not run well when he was there. But here's the deal with Geno Smith. What we saw out of him last year in the 4 games that he got to be out there on the field and played well, it's okay that he was a backup quarterback. That's his role. In life, we have this problem where we don't know our roles. And that is a constant theme in every office in America. And it all the way goes to the football field as well. That's why football is such a good representation of life. Look, it's okay that Geno Smith is a good backup quarterback. But a starting quarterback full-time in this league, that won't work. We've already seen that song and dance before. And it didn't work out well. And so I get the frustration. I get the disappointment from Geno Smith of essentially having this job taken away from him potentially if they bring in Baker Mayfield. But look, the Seahawks are making a business decision here. Quite frankly, you look at the career numbers, Baker Mayfield is just a lot better quarterback than Geno Smith. Better in completion percentage, better in yards, touchdowns, the overall record. I mean, there's no beating around the bush here, folks. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to look at these numbers and figure out who the better quarterback is. It's not hard. And so I totally understand where Geno Smith is coming from. He was handed a bad situation to the New York Jets, and it didn't go well for him, and he hasn't really gotten a chance to be a starter since. I understand all that. But for the Seahawks, in this case, if you get a chance to bring in a guy like Mayfield as opposed to Geno Smith, a chance to bring in a former number 1 pick, I understand. I totally understand where the Seahawks are coming from here. Now, your chance to weigh in. Would you rather have Geno Smith or would you rather have Baker Mayfield? Given the choice. You've seen the numbers. You've seen me make the case now for Mayfield over Geno Smith. How would you vote one way or the other? Type GS for Geno Smith. Type BM for Baker Mayfield. And let me know in the comment section below either way. GS for Geno Smith. BM for Baker Mayfield if you had to choose between those two. Moving on, Coby Bryant was profiled in The Athletic this morning. And, you know, I'll go over the highlights here in just a second, but I strongly encourage you to go check out this piece because there was so many details about the story of Coby Bryant and how far he has come as an individual throughout his career. It's really fascinating. I would strongly encourage you to go check out this story if you haven't already. But Michael Sean Duggar, the Athletic Seahawks reporter, did a really good job. And here's a couple things I want to point to from this article that Duggar said. The messaging from his father, that's Coby Bryant's father, was clear. Never stop working. Always stay hungry. Coby Bryant took both pieces of advice to heart and developed a habit for coming to work early and staying late. In high school, Bryant was a diligent worker, an avid film watcher, combining that with his natural athleticism to become a dominant player and ultimately a leader on his team. At Cincinnati, Bryant was always doing something extra, coming in on the weekends, watching more film, staying after practice to work on footwork, back pedals, and inch technique. More on that in just a second. We'll get to on Coby Bryant, but before we do, got a great deal that we're offering now here at Chat Sports. You see that great T-shirt combo? I'm going to give you not one but 2 shirts for $20 off. Great deal. You're not going to find it anywhere else but right here for Seahawks Today viewers. The easiest way to get it is by going on to chatsports.com/Seahawks shirts to get yours now while supplies last. That's $20 off that Seahawks T-shirt combo. Chatsports.com/Seahawks shirts to get yours today. Now, for me, I love Coby Bryant's attitude here. Playing with a chip on his shoulder of sorts. You know, here's a guy that was at Cincinnati, won the Jim Thorpe Award and everything, and yet who was the top 4 pick in this draft at cornerback from Cincinnati? It wasn't Coby Bryant. It was Ahmad Sauce Gardner, his teammate. And Bryant wasn't highly recruited either. So he's had to play with this chip on his shoulder, and that's going to continue throughout his time in the NFL. Slipping all the way to the 4th round, even winning the award for the top defensive back in college football, he still slipped through the cracks somehow to fall to pick 109. And this guy's hungry. He has something extra that he wants to show. And so far, everything we've heard from every coach that's talked about Coby Bryant during OTAs and minicamp is just how much of a breakout star this guy has been. Earlier in the week, we did a roster breakdown talking about positions. And look, the cornerback spot is wide open right now. It would not shock me at all, based on everything we've heard about Coby Bryant, if he ends up starting game one at the cornerback spot. Maybe it's at nickel, maybe it's the second cornerback spot, but with everything that's going this direction for Coby Bryant, don't be shocked at all if he ends up with one of those spots. He's been that impressive and that good and a steal. You know, Louis Riddick said it best. He said he's a stud. Here's more from Lance Zierlein. This was the scouting report when Coby Bryant was coming out. He said, Bryant had a productive 4-year starter who was experienced, sharpened his football IQ and leadership qualities. Bryant has good size and can be a real-time route reader and above-average ball skills and an anticipatory brand of coverage. He will need help against NFL deep speed and could struggle in an off-man capacity when he has to transition and match route breaks throughout the game. Zone cover schemes that allow for more linear eyes-forward approach should play directly into his strengths than allow him to become a cornerback 2 or cornerback 3. So there you have it, the breakdown from Lance Zierlein there. And I got to tell you, too, I love that a guy with the name Coby Bryant is wearing the number 8. I mean, it would have been cool if he was wearing 24, but the OGs know the number 8 and a guy named Coby Bryant. How perfect is that? So, with that said, if you believe that Coby Bryant will have a big year in 2022, type 8 in the comments. Show him some love. Let me know one way or the other. Type 8 in the comments if you think Coby Bryant is going to have a big year in 2022. We'll be covering it all here on Seahawks Today with non-stop coverage for free. Subscribe now if you haven't already. Tell all your friends. Make sure they are subscribed as well. Seahawks Today, bringing you daily Seattle Seahawks content. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. Turn those notifications on as well.